it's good time for enterprises to start like building something right now, because looking at the cycles, like how long does it take something from first a POC and then like a production? It's like, again, it's more than a year cycle usually for an enterprise to launch something. And with all the new regulations and stuff like this that we know already about, it's a very good time to start building very soon.
Yep.
To be out exactly when everything is already very clear to the market.
Can you provide an overview of Gateway FM and its core services?
Yeah, I can start. So we are all about like a blockchain infrastructure, like a full stack blockchain infrastructure. So what we are doing is basically we have a like platform as a service that's called Presto, that has one-click deployments of L2s, and also it's a bunch of extra services on top of that. Also, Gateway has basically runs validators, RPC, and does quite a lot of applied research in blockchain, mostly around ZK technology or ZK scalability solutions. Like we are core contributors, for instance, to Polygon CDK. Like CDK Aragon is basically our baby. Like we made this node, and yeah, that's roughly it. Pradeep, you want to add something?
Yeah, no, thanks. Just adding to what Igor said, we are a platform as a service. We also do applied research as where it's more about looking into the core research, core development, the open source technology around L1, L2, and taking that into more of a prototype and product as a platform. We also have a small vertical of staking as a service, which is very much linked to our overall offering. So you can think of it as an analogy of, I think in today's talk, Igor mentioned about businesses going online, having their own websites. The analogy is actually businesses going on-chain. And that is what you need as a platform to build your businesses on-chain. And Gateway is the infrastructure provider as a platform as a service for single-click deployment to taking your business on-chain. And that is what our sort of business thesis and philosophy is right now. And we're bringing almost like 6 to 7 years of experience of building core technology, building Ethereum, building Polygon stack, helping with partners like Gnosis. We're building all that experience and trying to package it up so that we abstract away all the complexity to support our clients.
Fantastic. We're going to dive deep into that in just a second, but I wanted to talk about also EEA Day. We're here at the EEA Day. I wanted to ask, what brings you to this specific event while there's a bunch of other events happening across Bangkok?
Yeah, like from the get-go, like we were always excited about like real-world adoption, and real-world adoption of like blockchain technologies comes like not only from like people who will do self-custody and this kind of cypherpunk movement, but also like if you look at the big companies, they use it on super large scales, right? If you're buying like servers and racks for your data center, for instance, and then millions of people are using this is like clear use case for the blockchain. Or if you're doing payments, let's say if you have a credit card, like let's say Gnosis Pay or Wirex has, and it's like an on-chain basically credit card, it also brings a lot. So it's like, that's why we think that's the community was always gravitated towards more of this cypherpunk, permissionless, and DeFi kind of area, which is like super important, to get me wrong, but we also like want to see adoption on the enterprise side, because through that the end users will use the blockchain technology. So that's why I think it's important.
As just to add on to what Igor mentioned, like our what we have been doing essentially is we're building the core technology and trying to build the platform and take this work on this adoption thesis to actually package this all the research into a product and collaborate with enterprises, because that is where we believe the real adoption is going to come, because all the use cases, all the businesses is sitting with enterprises, and we want to include them into this transformation and we believe as a company that in the next decade, a lot of digital transformation is going to happen, and this technology adoption is going to take place. And this is where we are here. We're trying to, we're already working with collaborating with few partners, but we want to actually entrench ourselves deeper into enterprise, but with selective partners in a step-by-step fashion.
Yeah, and a little bit about specifically that day is that, again, that we're working with some of the partners. We just also want to just meet them in person, like to put names to, because we never saw them apart from like, Microsoft Teams conversations or like chats and telegrams and something.
So you're also a member of EEA, right? I'd like to ask how your experience has been so far being a member, and what motivated you to join?
We are a very new member, first of all. So we we just joined. I think this year? A few months ago, basically. So far, again, we started working with the other members of EEA before we joined it, and I think it's very important to have this kind of community that focuses on this area. I think that's so far, again, it was a very good experience, and this day, for instance, it shows it. It's like, I think the venue is very well planned, that everything is super organized, and I have very, very kind words for the organizers of these particular events. So yeah, it's that's from my side.
Yeah, if just to add to that is we have known of EA for quite some time, but we started interacting with Paul, Karen, and few of the new members of EA, and we believe under guidance of Paul and Karen and other new members, we do see a transformation in this whole EA as well, and that's also motivated us to join. And again, this today's event has been we think it's a great success, and we do love the energy, the topics, and it just feels like a right time in terms of the technological innovation that we do think that we're at an inflection point at the cusp of everything coming together in terms of technology and the enterprise setup as well. So yeah, we thought the timing, the leadership seems to be the right time for us as well.
So what do you think are the challenges enterprises face when adopting blockchain technology, and how does Gateway FM address these challenges?
Yeah, do you want to take that?
Yeah. Well, there's first of all, want to start with again, what technology to use. That's the first challenge probably, because again, even if you focus specifically on, let's say, L2s, maybe even the companies want to do something with the blockchain, but what kind of technological solution works best for them? That's the first question that they do. The second, after they picked the thing and they decided that they want to deploy it, because again, for the first solution, what we help with is that's coming from our experience with again, basically full stack. What we tell that we can do some kind of research or a POC or something for enterprise to figure out what's the pros and cons of each technology and what is the best solution for their particular needs, because different needs are different. But when they started going into production, let's say they already decided on the technology and stuff, then there are basic things. First, again, just that's the quality of software and everything is up to the standard, the security, the software updates, the support of the open source stack itself, because it's usually open source software. Second is just expertise of how they can basically find people in-house as well to work on this, so documentation and body of knowledge. Technical support, because again, as soon as you go to production, there's always questions arise, maybe sometimes issues arise and stuff like this, and this we also help customers quite a bit with supporting, starting from answering the question, why is my smart contract not deploying correctly on an L2, to bring in some basically SLAs to the stacks we are running, having on-call process, having disaster recovery and handling that for them. And then it also comes question of data sovereignty and privacy. They are coming together because enterprises, they collect a ton of data. This data could be used in very useful manners, but also in some malicious manners for them. So they are not really ready to share it with the open world. And how to integrate, and a lot of blockchain solutions, they came from the cypherpunk movement, that everything is open, everything is forever, everything is permissionless. But then how do we kind of reconcile these two together? That's how enterprise can keep owning the data without any third party even like mining it for important information, or training AI models on that or whatever. And then how also to limit access to it, because we can start with just again, enterprise, just compliance. For instance, in the payment industry, you cannot legally issue like a credit card from Visa or MasterCard for a person who didn't pass any KYC. So how can you basically only allow transact on this L2 for the cards, only for the people who pass the KYC? Things like that are like all over the place here, and that I think is what's very important.
Yeah, one more thing to sort of add is, as you could see that the requirements from enterprises is like, yes, they do want to leverage the blockchain solution, but then the problem statements is on privacy, data sovereignty, identity, SLAs and support as well. But also the key theme is that because the technology is so fast evolving, that is very difficult to catch up as well, right? So because if you're working on, let's say, implementation, because the implementation cycles can be so long that it takes 12 months to 18 months to actually get something, let's say, rolled out from POC to build a system, by the time that the technology has fast move. So this is where Gateway becomes like a good partner, where we're trying to say that we are trying to package up this complexity and package up all the utility together into our platform offering, so that they can start leveraging and building on our platform, and all the innovation that is happening underneath can be readily available to them as we go along, essentially. So that can be taken away. From there, that burden can be much more easier for them, so that they can focus on the use cases and not just focus on the underlying technology that is so moving so fast.
And the last thing I forgot to add is also it all should cost a reasonable amount.
Exactly.
Because again, even with some of the enterprise customers, we see that deploying these private blockchains before that, it costs a pretty penny per month, and since they are not earning these fees, because it's usually blockchain is not used in the kind of crypto concept, when there's crypto economy, user space fees and stuff like this, it's just a cost on a company. And then let's say adding one more partner into this thing adds an extra cost.
Yes.
So like cost management is also super important.
Can you discuss your experience in deploying layer 2 solutions for enterprises? Maybe also mentioning the benefits of these solutions.
Yeah, so for enterprises, what L2 does, first of all, it's very flexible. Again, usually if you deploy on some, especially if you have like your own L2 versus going to the like public chain, like because there are public L2s, like again, there's like Polygon, EEA, optimism, Arbitrum, whatever. But in your private one, you have flexibility. Again, you can have like an L2 that is basically bound by KYC, that people who didn't pass KYC cannot really transact there. There might be like you can disable gas fees. Like for a lot of the customers that we have, they don't want like any gas marketplace or any gas in the blockchain that they run, because they don't use it for earning these fees. Then price and scalability, like with a modern L2 solution, since they were built like a scalability engine already, that means that they give you like a relatively high throughput for a relatively cheap price. So we did some of the POCs that we were able to run the L2 solutions on a very cheap hardware and still get quite a good performance out of it. And so this and then access control, of course, and security. So access control is basically, again, for some of the enterprise clients, they will get in trouble if somebody will try to deploy, let's say, a copy of Uniswap to their chain. So it's like, again, controlling who can and cannot deploy smart contracts and just in general, the granular access control list. And after that, security, basically that's where specifically ZKL2 come in, is that since you have to generate a cryptographic proof of every state transition in the network, everything that's happening on the network, and this proof is basically like if we like having a step back, like each blockchain has its own rules, like, and the rules are, if I have certain amount of token, only I can spend them, like and I cannot spend more tokens that I have, and yada yada yada. All these rules, it's a list of rules. In traditional blockchains, these rules are usually enforced by consensus. So basically, a lot of nodes execute the same thing, and there is some kind of either proof of work as a punishment / reward mechanic, or proof of stake as a punishment / reward mechanic. In L2s, in ZK L2s, the same rules are enforced by a smart contract on L1 that verifies ZK proof. So your ZK L2 have to provide the proof that these rules were not breached when transactions were like basically made on the chain. And that's what secures it. So when you have a ZK L2, you also know that these rules that there are in the chain, like every transaction adhere to it. And what makes it even cooler, that you can have a totally sincere ZK. It's a little bit of side effect, but sincere ZK, then don't leak the exact information. So you may have a public proof that the private blockchain, like it's actually was adhering to all the rules. So if you have like a private blockchain that, I don't know, does whatever, like carbon credits exchange and payments and whatnot, you can actually publish the ZK proof that everything is correct on this chain without really revealing who exactly bought what, and yeah, without the accounting. So this is a real benefits I see.
Great overview. So I'd also like to talk about the CDK Aragon client. So Gateway developed this client for Polygon. Could you elaborate on its development process and its key features?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's last year of our life, right? It took roughly a year to develop. Basically, we start with benefits. So, and it comes back to the same thing that we talked about the enterprises before, that people want to run reliable blockchain that's scalable and doesn't cost a fortune to run, right? And these are the key benefits that you get with CDK Aragon. Since it's based on the Aragon client that was one of the mainnet Ethereum clients since 2019 roughly, you get a very robust software that's known for its efficiency, like it's and also gives quite a lot of scalability, like on top of that. And basically what we did is we took like the Aragon client, again with the collaboration with Polygon and Aragon teams themselves, and we made sure that it supports the ZK proving system that Polygon has. Like they have this type 2 ZK VM prover, and also they have egg layer and bridges. So I mean, it sounds much simpler than it actually is, but basically we took the core of Aragon that can do transactions, and basically we integrated it, technically speaking, with a sparse Merkle tree that the prover has to use, and Poseidon hashes, and also with all these fancy things to allow you to support deposits on secure deposits on L1 to appear on L2, deposits on L2 appear on L1, and full support of the egg layer now. So it's it's a very significant thing. As a side effect of that, actually, we also moved CDK into the model. It's like, again, it's deep in the weeds, but so-called like stateless model of proving, and that means that prover doesn't have to have the whole blockchain, a copy of the whole blockchain to be able to prove. It only needs a little bit of a subset called the witness to prove transactions, and that means that it's basically more scalable solution, that you can scale these provers more, and you can also share them between different networks, which again opens up a whole lot of possibilities that weren't possible before for CDK.
Maybe cover a bit of the performance as well, like some.
Yeah, performance benefits are, again, we see on Ethereum transfers like over 10 times again in the synthetic test performance improvements and disk space reduction. And disk space is basically your main cost in running the blockchain. Also 10 times disk space reduction. And in the real traffic, we will see even better numbers, to be honest, because if the limit of the old node was about 1.7 million gas per second, give or take, it's just an estimation. With the current one, we've seen in production numbers like over 50 million gas per second. So it's a huge improvement. And the more difficult the transactions are, not just Ethereum transfer, but for instance, some swaps like on exchanges or something like one of these advanced things, the more efficient it gets. And also the bigger the chain is, because again, we are right now in the early technology of L2 still. And to some extent, the L2 teams who are building stacks, they are very lucky that most of the chain that they run, they are small. If we're looking at any of the L2 chain and we look, let's say, at Ethereum itself, or let's say Polygon POS chain, the main chain, the difference are staggering. Like the amount of, I think like, what's it? I forgot how many transactions. It's like isn't Polygon mainnet, but the data file for it weighs like 14 terabytes compressed. There is no L2s like that, and Aragon actually powers most of the Polygon POS chain in production. That means we're bringing this technology and allow your L2 grow to kind of the same size as like Polygon POS.
Do you have any examples of enterprises using these technologies?
They are under NDA.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
there's not even one.
I mean,
we're working on a few POCs. We cannot disclose right now. We're on NDA, but hopefully we can say it out publicly.
If we're talking about enterprises, but otherwise we have we have Prom, mainnet, we have Witness is not on CDK Aragon yet. But we have quite a bit of test nets, like the guys from Magic Link that were on the aggregation day. They use CDK Aragon there. Humanity Protocol is using Aragon.
Without like, you don't have to name names, but like, what are the general use cases?
Payments.
Yeah, payments is what we're looking into.
Supply chain.
The supply chain as well, which is we're looking into. I mean,
the decentralized physical infrastructure, or some payments around this.
We do believe like there's going to be some overlaps around DeFi, sort of spilling over into some of the enterprises as well, which is like stable coins, usage of that as well. We do see tokenization, real world assets,
right? We have
RWA as well, which will be coming across as well. But again, gaming we do consider more as an overlap on Web3 than enterprises. But then there will be some interest coming from, I would say, traditional gaming industries as well coming across.
Fantastic. And also, we went all over this throughout the conversation a little bit, but just to keep it brief again, how does Gateway's role in providing layer 2s differ from that of the Polygon team?
Polygon team, for instance, they are providing the stack, the software, basically. And we are providing basically, we are also doing a little bit of that with CDK Aragon. So we are participating in the stack development. But what we're doing is we're also helping the company to go from just the stack, the software component, to build a foundation for their template for their product. And we are not building it like complete the product, but we're making the full foundation. So if you want a chain for payments, it's not going to be just like a chain. It's going to be like a chain set up more like for payments, and with some extra like oracles that you need, with indexers that you need, and with some smart contract deployment like multi-sig wallets, things like that. And you'll get this kind of a template. And then it's like reduces go-to-market quite a bit, because it's already it's like, imagine that you're building the website from scratch completely. Just, there is like HTML and there is like, I don't know, MySQL database. Now you need to do everything, and JavaScript, and now you need to do everything. Versus like using some like frameworks already for that.
And also our differentiation is that because of our experience, we are able to host the infrastructure as well. So again, the options can be you want to run on cloud, GCP, Azure, AWS, or bare metal, or hybrid setup as well.
Yeah.
So this is what we have experience. And then as Igor mentioned, packaging up the whole integrations with, let's say, RPC, Block Explorer, or any third-party integrations which is required is done together, but at the same time, having the technical support in SLA so that it's running 24/7.
Supporting while it's in production, like both with the SLAs, with on calls, with like security bounties program for the infrastructure, basically supporting and just answering questions for the customer if they have customer questions.
So you can think of this like just packaging up this is what we call as an applied research and product as well, where we're taking this open source technology, which is we also contributing towards, but we're trying to package it up into more of a enterprise solution or enterprise grade product with the full-on technical support as well, and so that the clients can focus on their business use cases and just focus on the availability as well and reliability as we said.
And we allowing the customer to keep the data sovereignty, which is very important, but which is different from a lot of the solutions that you can see. So we don't keep the data hostage from the customer. They can keep data on their own premises. I mean, we can share access with like multi-sigs and stuff. So they are participating in the ownership of their own L2 and its data.
What are Gateway FM's plans for next year? And what's coming up on the horizon? What's next for Gateway?
We usually don't talk a lot about, Apple, they tell, okay, we don't talk about the future plans until they're released. So we usually, I know the enterprise direction is more and more what we're doing about specific features but we will more and more tailoring it with more experience with enterprises. We are tailoring more and more towards this enterprise solutions, our offering. And let's say, I put it vaguely, we have a few products that we think will be super excited for enterprises and not only, and also a couple of extra services that are also around this ecosystem. But that's also might be, I think, very important for the enterprises, bringing more towards a maturity of this and ready for enterprise usage.
And also, given our theme as well, we are also looking into more ZK VM, consolidation as well, right? Like as part of the stack offering, what we're doing. So that's what we say.
Awesome. Well, do you have any final words you'd like to share about EEA Day, your membership at EEA, or just the enterprise and crypto convergence? Any final words?
Yeah, as just shared earlier, very excited about how the day has been so far. Great turnout. And really, a great panel and amazing topics. But we do, as we said, over the course of last 5 to 6 years, we have seen enterprises doing POCs and testing out this technology. We see the appetite, but now we do believe that the technology is evolving, and given what Gateway is playing a role, that the convergence is happening, because now the enterprises, they understand the technology, they understand the use cases, and in a way they have. What we see is that they have defined the problem statements well. If you go back 5 to 6 years, they know what the technical roadmap is and where exactly this technology can fit in and what they can solve. So given the fact that they have, some of the enterprises have a good 2-year strategy, makes it much more easier for let's say companies like Gateway or Polygon or other L2s to collaborate better and help with this convergence and the adoption as well. So that's what we say.
I agree totally. First of all, the conference was very, very nice, and the people are very engaged, which is again a very good sign for you see the reactions from the crowd and they're asking questions and stuff. It's not all Web3 is useless or whatever. The sometimes that you get in some places, and I see that in general, I see that we're in a very good point in time to adopting, because compliance and legislative clarity becomes better, and I think will be better in the next years. And since again, it's good time for enterprises to start like building something right now, because looking at the cycles, like how long does it take something from first a POC and then like a production? It's like, again, it's more than a year cycle usually for an enterprise to launch something. And with all the new regulations and stuff like this that we know already about, it's a very good time to start building very soon.
Yep.
To be out exactly when everything is already very clear to the market.
Yeah, and just to give some sort of a mental model also is like we see Coinbase and PayPal, for example, like they are, let's say, like Coinbase is a publicly listed company launching its own L2, which is Base. And they're able to do it because of, they have a pretty good team, but that's a great blueprint of a publicly listed enterprise, trying to launch their own L2 so that they can build their own ecosystem. And so there are some success stories which are also developing, and PayPal following up, and few other of such enterprises as well. So we see that convergence, and we see this replication happening across the industry over the coming decades, essentially.
Great. Well, it was great to chat with you guys. That was definitely very insightful for me. Thank you so much for taking the time.